Hello, friends. Well, I got my copy of Richard C. Meyer's Jawbreakers. Yes, well, boy, it sure took a long time to get here. Well, that's not his fault, no. We all know who's really to blame, at least for that problem, yeah. Yeah, Mr. I Hate Bullies, huh? Mr. Wade, you might want to look into the concept of projection. You might want to do that. Well, anyway, so once upon a time there was a guy, we'll call him Richard, who had a YouTube channel, and he would read comic books and critique them. And some of those critiques were negative, yeah. So the creators behind those comic books called him a Nazi. Yeah, it's just that simple to be a Nazi these days. Just have a different opinion. Imagine that. Anyway, he and quite a few other YouTube channels that were doing similar videos received the same treatment, and ultimately this resulted into a movement known as Comicsgate. Yes, it was a consumer revolt in the comic book world of people giving in trash work and only to promote their political views, but also the political views to be used as a shield for sloppy, lazy work that was bereft of character development and even basic plot and lazy art and what have you. But if you criticized it, then it must mean that you are some sort of ism, whether that be racism or sexism or what is it? I guess Islamophobia was thrown around a couple of times, stuff like that, you know. And this could shield the work from any criticism whatsoever, because that would be the root of the reasons why you didn't like it. You didn't, no, don't tell me you didn't like it because the plot went nowhere. Don't tell me because the thing changed between panel to panel. Don't tell me because the perspective was all off in the drawing. Don't tell me because they just basically stole other artwork and stuff like that. No. It's because, you know, the isms and whatnot. So, and that was at the battle. Things got really nasty here and there, insults thrown about, and oh my God, it's the end of the world, when all you have to do is not follow someone on Twitter would solve the whole problem. But no, it's the end of the world and all this god-awful crap. It has gotten to the point now where just recently, Peter Samedi of Alternative Comics got swatted. You tell me which side has gone too far, huh? Yeah, so that's that whole thing. But Mr. Meyer, who had a channel, he still has the channel. He changed the name to it, but originally it was Diversity in Comics. And oh, it was just somehow, some way, he struck a nerve. And oh my God, they eat, breathe, and sleep this guy, dreaming of his demise, apparently. And so finally, someone said, "Hey, if you're so smart, why don't you do your comic book?" So he said, "All right." And they're like, uh-oh. So, yes, he did. He got the money. He went did an Indiegogo campaign. Well, originally it was going to be a Kickstarter one, but, well. And then Indiegogo, and he raised the money, and it was looking pretty good. And then even a publisher said, "Hey, we'll print it up and put it in stores." Everything was looking great. And then, no, yeah, you know who stepped in. And so you see, the goalposts and rules keep changing quite a bit in these little battles. So I wanted to read the comic book, and I was thinking, you know, I'm going to buy that thing. Well, my choice to buy it was denied because the publisher had to back out after being pretty much extorted. So here we are. If you wanted it, you had to back the Indiegogo campaign, which I did. And that brings it back to this idea. Of course, a lot of the Comicsgate philosophy and whatnot I agree with, but at the same time, I have to join a damn movement just to buy a comic book. And that's the situation we're in, and that's how that happened. So anyway, I got it. So it's late. As you can see, there's quite a few hoops and hurdles just to get a book printed and sent out these days. So finally got to read it, and oh my God, the god-awful messages in there. Oh, the racist, sexist. No. It's basically G.I. Joe with superpowers, and King Kong shows up. Yeah. The story and the artwork, of course, is fantastic. It's John Malin. And of course, he was a guy with that 90s look, and it's all there, which is Myers often said he's very fond of, and it fits right in. You could prop that right in the middle of the 90s, and it'd fit right in. The color's fantastic. It's very professionally done. Beautiful to look at. The cover by Ethan Van Sciver, who... well, you know him from Comics King too, and so he had provided that cover, and of course it's fantastic. The whole package deal is great. The story in and of itself is pretty good. It comes across like it could have been an Expendables movie and that type of thing, and that's kind of the idea of it. For a lot of what Richard's talents are, this guy could have been a solid writer for comic books that they could always depend on to produce superhero stories. I don't see in him anything that's like this is a masterpiece, or this is like, on the level of, Grant Morrison or someone like that is going to peak out and just. But he would have been this guy. He never will now because they would never let him. He would also make a great editor for comic books also. But even so, I don't think he would even want to, because he's not making a lot of money in that anymore. It'll have to be these labors of love projects, and it looks like that'll have to be the future of comics, of people fundraising and putting it out there directly without a publisher anymore. But anyway, that's another story. So the dialogue in it fits within the genre that it is, and it's fine and all that. There's just a few little things here and there where he has the characters acknowledge that they're similar to plots in movies, and it's an attempt at a joke about it. I guess once could work okay. But it happens twice, and I'm like, you can get there another way. One of the things that's one of my big pet peeves about the storytelling, whether it's in movies or comic books and TV and what have you, is you never, ever want to do something that might push someone out of the story. This didn't really do that. It comes close to it, but for a moment there, I'm like, that kind of thing. Nothing in it pushes you out of its story the way certain SJW all of them, all the SJW. There is no story. It's all about the message and the preaching and the sermon. But so it's a fun little adventure story. It's nothing spectacular, like I said, on the levels of of legendary comic books or what have you. But it's fun, and it should have been a book that I could just go pick up at a store, because that's what it is. Now, there's two other stories. He presents his original approach to this with his own art. It's remastered, and they prettied it up as best they could. But it's a fun adventure, and I kind of like the dialogue in those two more than the one he presents here, the new one, the Lost Souls one. It's book one and book two, and then I guess there'll be a book three, because it just kind of ends there without, or I guess you just have to accept they lost to the villain in it. Spoilers. But the second one, the artwork is kind of more of a classic look to it. There's a few little wonky looking panels here and there, but it's pretty good. And so overall, a good package, worth every penny that I spent on this. I'm glad I did. I enjoyed the look of it. It's very well done. The printing is fantastic. And, of course, there's the art that Malin and Brett Smith put together for it, for the initial story, is beautiful. Hopefully, he can reunite that same team for future stories. We'll just have to wait and see. But I was interested in the whole campaign and the whole movement and stuff, and I kind of wondered, well, if all of this hadn't happened, would I have been interested in it? Probably not, but nevertheless, I did. And it certainly irks me that it's not just attacking Mr. Meyer or someone else and taking away their project or something like that. You're taking away my choice to read what I want to read, and it's up to me. It's not up to Mark Waid or whoever else wants to have a hissy fit over this. So, of course, I can't. That has to be said. I can't just go into and saying that, I'm just reviewing some comic book I bought and that's it. That's obviously not the case. But nevertheless, overall, good project. And of course, I will give it 5 out of 5 stars, but I'm being honest in my bias here to it. But yes, it's a fun adventure. I'd like to see more. And there's elements here to build future stories on, whether it was intended to or not. I assume it was. And that looks fun. I do have another problem. Oh, what happened to Sexy Zashi? What were you thinking? How could you do that? But nevertheless, it was a lot of fun. I've done my own fan art for the characters. Really went all the way in on it. And so, of course, I do look forward to more. I did not get the iron sights because I'm not doing so great, so I can only support so many. The only other campaign I was able to back was the Brett Weiser's one, and we'll have to review that one when it comes out. But that was all I could do. But I should be able to buy these in a store put out by some publisher, one of these small publishers. I mean, geez Louise. If you are not of the body, you cannot participate. So that's where we are, and it's all very sad, especially when this was what the fuss was all about. It's just a silly, fun adventure of G.I. Joe with superpowers, or Expendables with superpowers, and that's what you got here, and it's just fun. What's wrong with that? Absolutely nothing. So congratulations to Mr. Meyer and John Malin, Brett Smith, on a job well done, and to the other artists who participated in the other backup stories, and of course Uncle Ethan. Oh yes, of course, all great stuff. And so the future for comics is bright, and one small corner that you will have to support through Indiegogo, I guess. And hopefully that will change as time goes forward. Anyway, thank you for watching and listening. Say, why not like and subscribe? Or you could just subscribe even if you don't like it. I'll do better next time. And while you're here, check out that link description below. That'll take you to my mini stores that have plenty of goodies for you. Bye-bye.